Today for Astrology in the News, and of course, it's April 23rd, 2018. I hope you enjoyed my 420 presentation. I had a good time putting it together. It was really amazing to see all those different charts of traumatic events in the history of the United States get put together, and really just how like astrology can unite everything with astrocartography, and also too the United States being in its sun dasha and the sun being at that position. This kind of shows maybe next time around that might happen again, but that won't be for 120 years, so we're okay. Anyway, guess what time it is? It's time for yogic wisdom of the day. Give this world good energy, right? Cause the AC's broke at Berkram Yoga, yo. I mean, really, that place is really hot. That place needs energy like electricity, or whatever they call that stuff nowadays. I think it's still called zappy, shiny stuff. Anyway, Vern Troyer dies. Okay, Mini-Me is gone. You know, if you liked Mini-Me from the 90s, growing up with watching Austin Powers, well, I wasn't growing up. I was grown up, but not quite all the way there. But anyway, Vern. So, you know, I don't know what happened to him. I guess he had a huge problem with alcoholism, but they haven't really released the autopsy of why he died. But also too, shorter people tend to have more issues with their body, so maybe he had some sort of condition related to his height. I don't know, but I'll tell you, are there any funerals out there that are out there for 66% off? Because why pay full price when you don't take up a whole casket? Oh boy, that's gonna get me in trouble. All right, here's Vern's chart. So taking a look at his chart, he actually has a couple of difficult placements where it can be emotionally, actually. When I take a look at his chart, it looks like a guy who really repressed his emotions and how he felt, and that brought him a lot of pain. And there's also a definite contradiction between how he wanted to express them and also how he felt like he had to hold back. And that's because of this Saturn-Rahu conjunction in the sign of Pisces, man. That's really tough. Whenever you get Saturn and Rahu together, it either makes or breaks a person. When it makes somebody, they're super focused, they're right on cue, they know how to have great timing. When it's not, this inner conflict can really bury somebody. He had some pretty good planetary placements here, like his moon here in the sign of Taurus. You know, he had an exalted moon. Let's see, Venus here is not too badly placed here in the sign of Aquarius. Mercury's pretty well placed here. I don't know if that's in his 10th house or not. I don't know his birth time. So if we're taking this from the moon, that's in his 9th house. And that usually shows somebody that really likes to travel. Now, transit-wise, Saturn was coming up here on his sun, which would lead me to believe that his sun might be the lord of the 8th house, which means that he would probably be a Capricorn ascendant. I say that because he's in his Saturn dasha, and specifically he's in his Saturn sun dasha. Okay, this give or take a couple of years, but I think that when Saturn and the sun came conjunct, especially too when Saturn started going retrograde, it really activated his natal Saturn here in here in the sign of Pisces. So yeah, I think that's probably what did him in. Let's see, Mars here in the sign of Libra. That's a little bit of a difficult place, and it makes it hard to make decisions. You know, when Mars is in Libra, Libra is a sign that's trying to find balance, and Mars is a planet that's go, go, go. Let's get this done. Let's see, and then he has Jupiter and some of the outer planets here in the sign of Virgo. Now K2 here, this makes somebody a perfection. Now Jupiter conjunct K2 is actually very spiritual placement. So, I would have thought that if you see, I saw like the Celebrity Rehab, and I think I saw him on that other show where they put him all in a house. I think it was like the Has Been reality TV star show, and he didn't appear to be very spiritual. So I think if he would have found spirituality, he probably would have overcame his alcoholism. So all that's conjuncture there. Mike Pompeo to get negative review from Senate panel. Update before I wrote this, he actually got a positive review. So what happened is one of the persons that was one of the Republicans that was going to vote against him wasn't able to make it to the session, so it actually flipped him in his favor. But anyway, Pompeo is resorting to CIA negotiating tactics to change some minds. So maybe a drone took out a Republican's car or something. One of those Reaper missiles kind of flew into the hood, and it's like, nah, you're not going to make it to work today. So it's funny, I put all this together before that happened. So, all right, taking a look at Mike Pompeo's chart. I actually have a birth time for him. He is an Aries. So Aries, especially around the sign of Critica, leadership, leadership, leadership. So it's not unusual to see people that have Aries ascendants in the military or in executive positions. Now, activity in his chart: Mars, retrograde Mercury, and the Sun, and the south node of the Moon, all here in his ninth house, which is the house of diplomacy. So, it's interesting. He's going through the Saturn transit right now. It's going in his ninth house, and so Saturn karma is really taking its effect. So yeah, I think he's going to win over Senate confirmation. Now, if you take a look at his chart right now, he's in his Ketu dasha, which really can show. I don't know if we take a look at where's K2 in his chart, dude. Okay, yeah. So this is also too in that the same house as the Saturn transit. So this is what's being active, and Saturn is almost conjunct K2 right now. So like where in Vernon's chart, it was a good thing. I'm sorry, where in Vernon's chart, it was a bad thing. In Pompeo's chart, it's turning out to be a good thing. So this is really reorientating the signs of leadership. Let's see, Saturn is well placed here in the sign of Capricorn, and Venus it's difficult in Capricorn. It makes it hard to find romantic love, especially conjunct Saturn. So if he's married, I think it's more of a business relationship or a power relationship with his wife. Then we have Rahu and the Moon here in the sign of Gemini. Passion for communication, speaking. I haven't seen him give a speech, but I would guess that when he does speak, he uses his hands a lot. That's the kind of the way that he's an orator. But people that have strong Geminis too are very intelligent people. I mean, it's very easy for them to grasp large concepts, but it can be very difficult for them to bring it back down into some sort of concrete form. And that is the main challenge of Gemini. Moving on, how does Melania's chart look during all these scandals, since all these astrologers are predicting all these terrible divorces and stuff like that? There's one in particular that I'm thinking of, and if you want to know, just email me. Of course, it's steak season, and Donnie's getting restless, so, it's... Oh, man, that's funny, dude. Maybe he's out in the run or something, or running around and stomping around the White House lawn looking for does, or keep him away from the plastic deer, okay? All right, so this is Melania's chart. I don't think I've done it. So if somebody has a birth time for Melania Trump, please send it to me. She was born in Croatia. Now, the interesting thing is here, she is entering or just entered into her Rahu Dasa. So I would probably put this more around the election. Because this is roughly around the time, too, that they went into the White House. So I'm going to say that she was probably born earlier in the morning. With that being said, that doesn't change the placement of her moon too much. So if we can actually take this ascendant in Sagittarius as her first house. So yes, Sun in the fifth house, exalted with Mercury and Saturn. Now, this is interesting because she has an exalted Sun, but a debilitated Saturn, which makes it difficult for people to express their ego. So she has a lot of ego and things like that, but Saturn keeps it refined. So this woman has a lot of very dynamic energy to her, but she doesn't express it. So what you end up seeing is somebody that's a little bit more demure in their presentation. Now, Venus, of course, being in the sign of Taurus, model, being, Taurus and Libra are the signs of true, pure beauty. And when you have Venus in one of those signs, usually it's going to indicate an attractive person. Same with the moon, too. Jupiter here, okay, so one of the interesting things is she's actually going through a Jupiter return in her 11th house, and her Jupiter is also retrograde here in the 11th house. So this could mean the expansion of network circles or actually the contraction of it. So I think Melania Trump, we're going to see a lot more from her as this Jupiter transit, keeps occurring. Let's see. Other than that, she's actually, just like, this is very fascinating. Just like Donald, she's going to be going through her Sade Sate very shortly. So her and Donald, they went through theirs. And if you're not familiar with the Sade Sate, in Vedic astrology, that's a transit of Saturn over the moon. So Donald's is right here, basically on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius, where hers is actually here in the sign of Sagittarius. So their moons are very close together. So yeah, they're both going through this tough time, which despite all these allegations and stuff like that, it means that they're weathering the storm together, okay? So I'm taking a look at this chart, and I don't see any indicators of divorce. I mean, especially with Rahu. I mean, Rahu here is in the third house. It's not like it's in the eighth house. So I don't know. All these people that are predicting that, they're going to get a divorce. I'm not seeing it. So, all right, that's all I had for today. And of course, if you want to contact me, my email's below. Otherwise, smash that like button and share. Have a good day.